Welcome back to another episode of Keoni Chats. The theme of today's episode is redemption, but it's more redemption for myself because my guest today, Dillon Vibes, is actually a two-timer as during his first time around, I made a mental error and I deleted his interview from my hard drive as I was trying to make room for his interview, which is very not, it just wasn't a great idea. I felt horrible. Luckily, Dillon and I both study at the University of Oregon School of Journalism and Communications. And we just both understood that this thing happens. You know, it's bound to happen. And instead of trying to recreate that interview with the same questions, I let some time pass and I wanted to come up with new topics to talk about. And we did. I got some, he's done so many things. He's always so busy. So it's never a worry about, recovering every single little bit that we talked about during his first interview. It's just more of elaborating, and obviously the growth that, let's say, myself as a podcaster has taken from that first interview is gonna there's no way we could recreate it. So I was very happy to have this interview with him this time around, and obviously it's going to stick because you all are either listening or watching. But I was very happy to hear about his growth as a photographer, a videographer, and then as a trainer. Because from that time, we had that interview initially to this episode being released, and he has stepped away from Orange Theory Fitness, and now he is taking his training and his personal training abilities to another level by opening up Vibes Training. And the ways to get to Vibes Training or just learn more about Vibes Training, I'll put in the description below, but I was so happy for this guy. It fits him to a T to, be a personal trainer and, be his own boss as well. So we talked about that growth, the birth of Vibes Training. And then we also talked about growth because he does also have a business called Dillon Vibes Photography and he also does videography. So he's always so busy, but he always wants to help. And that's what I admire the most out of him is just his innate nature to go help and to go support. And he had this big campaign, which we'll dive to in the episode, to help the Black resilience in Portland. And I was blown away by this guy. So before we dive into that chat, I just want to remind everyone that I do have a DC animated movies review. And currently, 2016 is in the books, or I guess available online for you to check out. That metaphor I was trying to use, but didn't really work out. So when you go to keoniconlu.com, KEONICONLU.com, and whether you're using, like, let's say, a phone or the laptop, there'll be a menu button or a menu section. Go to blogs, look for the DC photo, select 2016, and then there it is. So then before you go into 2016, you'll see that I have different years broken up. Some reviews have 2 years, some reviews just have 1 year. It's just because I'm trying to keep it to 5 movies per review. Don't know why 5, it just feels like a good number. So whether you are listening to this interview through Spotify, Apple Podcast, or you're trying out Amazon Music, we also have a video version of this interview found on Keoni Chats on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed my chat with Dillon Vibes of Vibes Training and of Dillon Vibes Photography. Yeah, so before we started rolling, we talked about your little trip to Seattle, where you took a wedding shoot, which is very, very few. Now, how was this one compared to, let's say, your most recent wedding shoot?
Outdoor ceremonies, everyone's wearing masks, there's hand sanitizer everywhere. So all of the awesome things to keep everyone safe, which is awesome. It is a bit weird, someone runs up to the bride and says, "Hey, oh my God, you look amazing." And you can tell they want to go give them a hug and then don't because COVID. So it's been fun. It's still awesome. Shooting weddings is really cool. I mean, I love. It's fun to watch and take photos of. It's a little bit different now than it has been in past years for obvious reasons. but it's fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I actually, as you were starting to talk, looks like my recording was on pause, but I caught you like 2 seconds into your sentence. So I was like, I think we got it. I think we got it. We got it.
Okay.
We're good. We're good.
We're good. All right.
We're,
Cool.
so how was their approach to you? Because obviously you've marketed yourself as a athletic photographer, and you did have one. I guess you mentioned your first wedding shoot and how that was a huge learning experience. So what was their approach to you to get you to shoot their wedding? And then were you hesitant at all, or were you just like, I'm on it. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
Right. Right. In general, so yes, I am an athletic sport fitness photographer. When I shoot weddings, 98% of the time it's as a second shooter. So there's a main photographer. They're the ones that were hired by the client, and then the main photographer texts me and says, "Hey, I need help on this wedding." So that's how I get hired to shoot the few weddings that I do here and there. It's not something I necessarily market myself towards. It is something I do, but not too often. So
Yep.
it's never the clients reaching out to me. It's usually just another photographer.
Yeah.
As far as shooting events right now in the COVID era, it is weird and obviously a little bit, I don't know if scary is the right word, but a little bit scary.
Mm-hmm.
The way I see it, for work, I am willing to go out there, masked up at a distance and shoot people, be in an event. If someone right now were just to invite me to be a guest at their big group wedding, I would say no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to that. But for a work purpose, shooting photos, getting paid to do it type of thing, then yes, that is something I'm willing to do if, again, another photographer asked me about it.
Yeah. And so
Yep.
this is actually our second time interviewing, because the first time I vocally said that, that was a big whoopsies on my part. So when we first talked, you were still, doing shoots outside and you were using the long telephoto
Yep.
lens,
Yep.
but now I think maybe a month or so after our interview, I saw
Yep.
photos of you back in the studio. How's
Yep.
it been being back there?
It's good. Again, it's weird. It's a little bit different. I'm masked up at all times, trying to keep my distance at all times. There's some shoots I've wanted to do with groups of people, but instead maybe I just do one person at a time. So there's still those kind of regulations and things to skirt around. But I have been back in the studio shooting. I've been meeting people like inside gyms to shoot. So being a little bit more daring, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but still being as safe as I possibly can throughout all of that.
Yeah. And, from obviously, if people that are listening or watching follow you on social media, they see that you're a very energetic guy and you bring that energy to Orange Theory Fitness. How has that been in the progress of COVID's, I guess, in this COVID world that's slowly reopening up? How has Orange Theory Fitness been?
Right. So Orange Theory, I will tell you how it's been. And then I'll also tell you that I actually left Orange Theory since our last conversation, which is a lot of what my past month has been. First, quickly, yes, when we first opened up, it was very strange. People were coming in and a lot of people weren't comfortable coming in, and we had to instruct people but not be near them. And it was all sorts of weird. At least at Orange Theory, I can't speak to all gyms. It was still Orange Theory. It was still high energy, still an awesome workout, still people coming in trying to improve themselves. So yes, it was different. The way we rotated around the room was differently, and the way that we instruct certain things were a little bit different, and everyone's wearing masks. But the energy is still there, still Orange Theory, and this goes for most gyms, I imagine. Still get to work out, still get to improve yourself. You just have to do it differently, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
But that being said, I did officially quit Orange Theory, I guess 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
However long it's been. At the beginning of the month, roughly.
Now, were you? Now, there is a reason why you left, which we will get to in a moment. But
Sure.
as soon as you said, "Hey, Orange Theory, I'm gonna take my stuff. I'm gonna move on to new opportunities."
Yes.
Were you panicked at all about the job market and how the world is right now?
No. So when I had decided I wanted to leave Orange Theory, so as well as a photographer, I'm a certified personal trainer, and I was doing group fitness stuff through Orange Theory. I decided I wanted to go into actual personal training, one-on-one type stuff. So I got a job at a corporate facility. It's called Quench Fitness, as a personal trainer. Once I got that job, then I told Orange Theory I was deciding to leave. I gave them like a month's notice, plenty of time. So initially, no, I was leaving Orange Theory. I was starting this new job. So I was like, all right, I'm all good. I'm all taken care of. And I tried to leave on good terms so that if it ever came down to it and I had to go back to Orange Theory in this, crazy job market, I probably could. So it
Yeah.
wasn't really a fear of mine in leaving.
Yeah. Are you at Crunch still? Because I just signed up with
No.
Crunch.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was
Congrats.
like, hey, look at that. Maybe I can
Cool.
find you.
Yeah, great. No, I quit there as well. So basically, yeah, I left Orange Theory to go to Crunch. Thought I wanted to be a personal trainer there. And about 2 weeks into being a personal trainer at Crunch, I decided I hated that and left Crunch to just start my own personal training business, which is what I've been doing on top of my photography. There's nothing wrong with Crunch. It's totally fine. I'm sure it's a great gym. I'm glad you're there. But just for me, the scheduling and it just didn't line up with how I wanted my life to be.
Yeah.
So after a few weeks of that, I then put in my 2 weeks again, quit that job, and then now I'm doing Vibes training, personal training, and then doing Vibes photography, which is what I've always been doing. But
All sorts of vibes is coming from you,
yeah,
man. Just
vibes, and
the
yeah,
good vibes and motivation vibes. And
exactly, all of it.
so where would you say you were as a trainer when you were with Orange Theory Fitness? And then where would you say that your ability to be a trainer got to when you got to Crunch and spent some time at Crunch?
Yes. So yeah, my like ability as a trainer is actually kind of something I thought about a lot, and what inspired me to then leave Orange Theory. Orange Theory is amazing. Again, I don't want to like trash talk any of the gyms. It's a phenomenal workout. I learned a lot about myself, about fitness industry, about other people, like a lot there. But the way Orange Theory works is there's a corporate template design team. They send you the template, and I, as the coach, read off of that template, and that's today's workout. Again, it's an amazing workout,
Yeah.
but I was given no freedom to program, to edit, to alter, to nothing. I just read whatever corporate gave us, which at first is awesome. Like, as someone who is learning the fitness industry, being told what to do and being given these awesome workouts and just being able to implement them was rad. Eventually, I got to the point mentally where I was like, hey, like, I know a lot about fitness. Like, I'm a certified trainer. Like, I know how to program effective workouts. I know how to program things that hopefully will help injuries or won't cause injuries, things like that, that I couldn't do at Orange Theory. So I decided to quit, go to personal training so I could work at Crunch. Every trainer I've ever talked to has said that being a personal trainer at a corporate facility, so Crunch Fitness, LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness, they all say that it sucks. Just the money's not great and it's corporate and the scheduling isn't great.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought I need to get in at that level because I have no experience here and I need to, go through the grunt work and learn how to be a personal trainer. And then eventually I can move on to my own business or a boutique gym or something. That was kind of like my mindset. But then after 2 weeks of Crunch, and I had a few of my own clients on my own that I was training, like just kind of at home stuff, I realized, hey, wait, no, I do know what I'm doing. I don't need to put in the quote unquote grunt work to start my own business. And then that's when I decided, screw it, start my own business, leaving Crunch. And that's why I made that leap.
Yeah, and Dillon Vibes Training. So tell me about the date that because I know when I was getting this podcast going, I was rambling. I was trying to figure out what a good name is, just trying to figure out the formatting.
Sure.
When did you discover the name? And then like all these logistics that come with being a
Yes.
personal trainer, that you would market yourself, like, let's say through apps or like through Instagram and social media. Tell me about that day when you're like, you know what? I think I found the name. Let's start rolling on A, B, C, D. Or what was the first thing on the
Sure.
priority list?
Yeah. So this is another interesting thing that I've been thinking about a lot, is that like mindset shift. So I've had my photography business, Dillon Vibes Photography, for years, and it's kind of been running on like autopilot almost. Like, I put work into it, put a lot of work into it, but not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been like a little bit hesitant to like make those hard, fast decisions in my photography business. And that's because I've been working for big corporations, working with employees, having managers telling me what to do. So once that was no longer the case, So like for Vibes training, there was nobody giving me any instruction whatsoever on how to do any of it. Once I made that mental shift from being told what to do and being okay with that to being 100% fully responsible for my business, my name, my reputation, it literally just came like that. I was just sitting there one day, I was, I think Vibes Training would be a cool name. All right. Went to Google, registered Vibes Training, went to Oregon LLC, like registration online, registered that business name, got my email address, all within like 45 minutes. Done.
Wow.
And it was just something I really do attribute it to that like mindset shift of I'm in charge, I'm responsible, I have to make these decisions. We're rolling with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of, I don't remember the exact date,
Yeah.
but I do remember the day, the morning when I was like, screw it, I'm doing this. And just, yeah, Vibes Training. I was like, that sounds great. I knew I wanted Vibes to be in there because it's my last name.
Yeah.
It's a unique last name. I didn't want it to just be Dillon Vibes Fitness or Vibes Fit because everybody does that, which is fine. So I figured training was like a little bit different, kind of. And then just decided to go for it. And here we are about a month later, and it seems great so far. I don't know.
Yeah. And you did this nice little lead up marketing, with your Instagram stories. And then I believe you said if people reshared it, then you'd donate $1, or was like something like
Yes. So
that?
those are two separate things,
Okay.
kind of. So leading up to the launch of my training business, I advertised on my photography, social medias, my personal pages. First, I put up a video that was me saying, "Hey, oh my God, it's Dillon Vibes. I have an incredibly huge announcement tomorrow." So I made people wait a full day for my announcement,
Yeah.
which like I know I'm not like an important celebrity, and like in the grand scheme of things, no one cares. But some people found that to be kind of interesting. I'm just gonna close this window. It's a super loud train. Okay, we're good.
Sure.
So I put up the video first saying, "Hey, I have this really big announcement," so that when it came tomorrow, at least some people would be a little bit more excited. And then the next day, posted the same thing, video. "Hey, it's me, Dylan Vibes. Here's my really big announcement. I've launched Vibes Training. Give my page a follow. Blah blah blah." So that all happened. I made it my goal that first week to individually message every single person who followed my new page. "Hey, thank you so much for following my new page. Like, I really appreciate the support." So that like little thing led to more conversations with people I haven't talked to in a while. And then I got 2 clients out of that, right? So
Wow.
just like launching and literally just messaging the people who decided to follow me, boom,
Yeah.
clients. Um, the $1 donation thing that you were referring to at the beginning of this month, I decided I wanted to raise a bunch of money for the Black Resilience Fund, which is right here in Portland. Basically, it's a fund to help Black Portlanders for various reasons. So first I made a video, posted it online and on all of my social medias, and I'm donating $1 for every time that's shared, which I still am for the next 4 days, whenever this month ends. And then also this month decided to donate 10% of all of my like training session fees, and then 20% of all of my photography session fees. I'm gonna pull it all together and then try to donate as much as I can. So right now I'm just over $500 total. Um, I have a couple more things the next few days. I'm gonna try and double that if I can, but I don't know. We'll see. That's where I'm at.
How important is it to you, the idea of helping and the idea of motivating?
Very. It's, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I love to help people. That's why I got into the fitness industry, is to help people through fitness. And it's something that like fitness helped me, right?
Mhm.
Everything, all the positive aspects of my life, my character, the characteristics that I enjoy most about myself have come from fitness, sport, athletics, being in that realm. So being able to use my experience improving my life through fitness to hopefully inspire and motivate others to do the same is the coolest thing on the planet. What I really like is my kind of intersection of being a personal trainer, so physically helping people get in better shape and improve their lives, but then also as a photographer working in the fitness space, I'm working with other trainers or gym owners or fitness brands that then in turn help people improve their lives. So yes, it's a business. Yes, I'm trying to make as much money as I can. That's how business works. But in doing that, I get to help people hopefully improve their lives. And that is the coolest thing on the planet, I think.
Yeah, it's that when I was training people, let's just say for work, this new
Sure.
guy comes
Sure.
in, a new gal comes in, and I get to help them, understand the ropes. That's always been so fun to me to see them progress and see them grow from like someone that doesn't know what they're doing to basically being a helper to the manager and being able to like say, I need this to be
Right.
done. He's like, got it, I'm on it. I was like, ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, I feel good. I feel good.
I mean, how does it feel like for you personally starting this podcast? And like we were talking about beforehand, you've kind of upgraded your equipment, gotten more efficient, and like that's a good feeling, right?
Oh
Starting
yeah.
here and getting here.
Yeah.
So as a personal trainer, as a photographer working in the fitness space, I get to help people in some respect start here and get here.
Yeah.
And that's rad.
It's so rad just because you know what it's like to start from nothing. And then once you like if it's let's say the money starts coming in where you can start investing in newer, let's say new kettlebells or new dumbbells or something like that, where
Sure.
you can provide a better exercise for those that want to subscribe and get your services, whether it's like an app or they do your training in person. So when it comes to self-improvement, how do you feel that your self-improvement has been since you've been doing all the workouts and recording it? Because
Mhm.
I believe, oh gosh, I think you posted something or you just tweeted that like you are getting such a great workout because you're doing all the workouts and you're finding yourself out of breath or something like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
How do you feel you're put like what kind of mindset do you have when you are recording these exercises and versus like let's say just going to the gym and doing a workout yourself?
Right. So now as a personal trainer with my own business, I am, like you said, doing a lot of recording of myself. Part of it is just recording whatever exercises I was already doing that day and then just showing that off. Part of it is recording specific exercises that I'm going to send out to my clients for their at home programs. And then some of it recently, I've been working with some videographers, making some kind of like hype reel type stuff of me working out to
Yeah,
advertise my
yeah,
business. And I think the biggest thing, one, yes, when you're being filmed and you have to cycle through 100 exercises in 10 minutes, it's exhausting because it's like, hey, do bicep curls. All right, cool, do bicep curls.
yeah.
The videographer's like, yeah, do a couple more. Yeah, I can do a couple more. Like, yeah, just a few more. And all of a sudden you're doing like 20, 25 reps and you're exhausted, which is not how I would regularly work out. But in general, being a trainer and designing workouts for my clients, filming these workouts for my clients improves my own kind of workout regimen because I have to be creative. I want to keep my clients interested. I want them to do fun stuff. So oftentimes I'll think of something cool and interesting, effective for a client. And then later that day, I'll do it myself because it's a damn good workout. As far as filming, I also have to be really conscious of my own form when I do all the exercises. Because if I'm filming a tutorial and my form is crap, that's defeats the whole purpose of the tutorial. So I have to be really conscious of my form, make sure that everything I'm doing is correctly, which then transfers over to when I'm working with a client, making sure that everything they're doing is correct, that they're doing it, the most effective way, avoiding injury, all of that. So it makes me more conscious of what I'm doing, more creative with what I'm doing, both client facing and me facing, if that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah, you mentioned so as a person that does the videography and photography, you're behind the camera. You're the one instructing the people. What was that like having to switch it over and be the one
It's
getting
fun.
instructed?
It's
And
so much fun. It's so much fun. So yeah, as a photographer, have been directing people for years, telling them what to do on camera. So it's really fun. I mean, just in the past few weeks, the first time I've kind of done it, stepped in front of the camera and been the one that's being told what to do. I like it a lot. Um, and it's actually helped my photography business because when I'm in front of the camera as the, quote unquote model, I realize that I have no idea what's happening behind the camera. And I don't know if they like the way my knee looks or if I should be turning this way or whatever it is. Things that I can now carry over to my shoots as the photographer because I put myself in the model's shoes more or less. And it's that comprehension, I guess, of both sides of the camera that has helped me be on both sides of the camera. So my like experience as a photographer has helped me be in front of the camera as a personal trainer. And then now my experience being on camera as a personal trainer has helped me behind the camera as a photographer. So it's a big circular thing here.
It makes sense. It makes sense because
Yeah,
you can't see how to improve from the opposite end if you're not being at the opposite end. Being able to like say, oh, this I was told that I need to do this a little bit better, and then when I do a shoot now, it's like that'll be somewhere in the back of my head. I was like, okay, maybe I should,
exactly.
take that thing I just learned and apply it to this shoot.
Exactly. It all contributes to each other in one way or another.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, we mentioned the $1 donations to basically
Yep.
help Black Portlanders with whatever
Yep.
they need help with. You did a series on Black athletic trainers
Yes.
a little bit ago, obviously in that window between our first interview and this interview. Can you
Yep.
tell me where did that thought process come from that you wanted to give a spotlight to them? And then
Yeah.
what was some of the results afterwards after you've completed the whole series?
Yeah. So it's what I'm calling it is the Diversity in Fitness project. It was the idea for it initiated way back, I believe in February. It was after the Ahmaud Arbery case, the black man who just went out for a run and was gunned down for absolutely no reason. That I feel guilty saying this, but that was like, innocent black man being gunned down who was just going for a run. So a man who was just trying to improve his fitness, something I do every day. So that kind of intersection of like, fitness is my life. That's my community. That's my space that I exist in. That was finally the tipping point for me to realize that like I need to do something about this. Again, I feel guilty that it took that intersection with my world of fitness in order for me to finally decide to take a stand. But that's also kind of where the idea for the project came, because I figured, again, my space, my community, the people I know that I talk to, that I interact with online and in person is fitness. Like that's my whole bubble. So if I can create these videos highlighting Black fitness instructors, having them discuss their difficulties or triumphs as a person of color in the fitness industry, hopefully doing that will open up these conversations and kind of ideas for other people in the fitness space. So it's that intersection. That's the big thing. That's the where I came at it and why I decided to do it. Is a lot of people aren't intentionally ignorant, but are ignorant in that they just don't even realize that Black people aren't as privileged as white people. Like a lot of people, especially here in Portland, just don't understand that. So if I can produce some videos of some fitness instructors and show that to some of those people, start some of those conversations, that's freaking rad. That's kind of the idea behind it all. I decided to call it the Diversity in Fitness project because right now, yes, I am mainly focused on Black fitness instructors, but I want to move it more into just diversity as a whole. So I'm going to start doing some outreach and trying to film some videos about like LGBTQ instructors or differently abled instructors, kind of just anything that's not the norm within fitness, the norm being straight white men like me. Basically trying to highlight everything else in the fitness space. That was a long-winded answer, but that is how it started, why I'm continuing to do it. It's just something that I think is important, is starting those conversations. And video fitness is a way to do it. So
Yeah, and you're actually. I think you are the second person that's been like, "That's a long-winded answer for your simple question." It's like, no, man, just take your
right, okay.
time because this
Okay,
is
cool.
this is about you.
Cool.
Again, I mean, round two is also about you. So
Sure. Sure.
So yeah, take as long as you want with any answers. Obviously, no pressure at all. Answer as well as you
Cool.
like. So when you were doing this set, we'll call it a set for your
Sure.
series. How did you find the Black athletic trainers or Black fitness instructors?
Yeah. So there's this Instagram page that I just happened upon, literally called Fitness Instructors of Color PNW, Pacific Northwest.
Mhm.
So I followed them, and they at some point posted a list of 20, 30 names of Black fitness instructors in Portland. I was like, this is perfect. So I just DM'd all of them and said, hey, my name is Dillon. I'm working on this project. I want to highlight Black fitness instructors, discuss what it's like to be Black in the fitness space in Portland, which is a very white space. Do you want to work with me? And got a bunch of yeses, got some nos, got a bunch of not responses. From there, it stemmed a little bit, as it does with any project. So I worked with this person who knew this person. And then after I worked with them, they suggested this guy who told me that I should work with this girl. And it just, ballooned from there. I've done, I don't know how many I've done, how many videos or how many people I've instructed. But I still have 3 videos I'm currently editing and another 3 to 4 that I'm filming in the next 2 weeks. It is an ongoing project that I'm just going to keep trying to produce, create, and it is, like I said, it's an avalanche effect. The more people that you interact with, the more people that you then are made aware of, and then the more people you can work with, and it just keeps going and going and going. And it's been cool, like already in talking to some of the Black instructors that I've worked with, they've told me, yeah, I saw you did that video on that really great Black yoga instructor. And then I followed him and took his class. So even that, like it's a small step. I understand that discussing diversity in fitness isn't going to solve racism. It'd be cool if it could, but it's not, unfortunately. But it is already creating a little bit of a community, some connections that might not have happened before, some conversations that wouldn't have happened before. So at like the community level, this project is helping a little bit. Again, it's not making monumental change, but it is. And then on the personal level, it's helping me out a lot as well. I mean, having, hour to 2 hour conversations with a bunch of different Black fitness instructors, asking them about their experience in the industry, in their lives, in Portland, is not something that I have done ever before. And now I am. So I'm learning a lot personally as well, which I think is super, super important. And that's kind of why, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this project. It's meant a lot to me so far, and I do want to just keep going and keep finding more people to highlight, more conversations to have, and so on and so forth.
So out of all those interviews that you've done up to this point, as you're working on this series, what has been some of the most like eye-opening and just kind of compelling answers that, if you can't remember word for word, obviously you can
Sure.
but
Sure.
yeah, whatever you do remember as being the most compelling and just more just like the jaw-dropping answers they give.
Yeah. So I would say one of the general themes I'll start with that I found with a lot of Black fitness instructors, because I've interviewed a lot of group fitness instructors. In group fitness, music is a big deal. The music that you play can either pump up the class or not. And a lot of the instructors I've talked to have told me that they have to control the amount of hip hop they play because they don't want to be portrayed as that ghetto Black guy playing hip hop, which it was something that, again, I have never had to think about as a group fitness instructor myself. I can play whatever music I want. Who cares?
Yeah.
So that was something, a general theme that I've seen a lot of people talk about that I wouldn't say it was jaw dropping because it makes complete sense, unfortunately, but it was and has been an overarching theme that has been difficult to hear. I think the most jaw dropping answer I had was the last video I released. This guy, Royal Black, he's a Orange Theory instructor at a different studio than the one I used to work at, was telling me how as a group fitness instructor, you need to like be the light in people's lives. Like they come to you, they come to your class because they want you to scream and yell and give them love and positivity and get them through that workout. And he was telling me how that's like damn near impossible to ask of Black people right now, because he was saying that he's struggling just to be the light in his own life. Like it is hard for him to wake up with all of the external pressure of being a Black man in Portland, in America. So to be able to like dismiss all of those external factors, go into your life as a fitness instructor and try to inspire what is generally a large group of white women. That's just generally, stereotypically speaking, what a group in this class looks like. That was jaw-dropping for me. Just the whole idea of, as a Black fitness instructor, having to be the light in somebody else's life when you don't even have the energy to be the light in your own was heavy and important. Like important that we realize that, important that if you go and take a group fitness class and your fitness instructor is Black, like being aware that they have a lot going on and they're still showing up for you. And that's like really cool that that's happening, but devastating that that's like the behind the scenes of many Black fitness instructors' lives.
So in your time as a trainer, let's say going from Orange Theory to you starting your own training, I guess
Sure.
training business.
Sure.
The mentality that let's say an outsider like myself encounters with a trainer like yours, like you're peppy, you're energetic, you're about ready to do jumping jacks until the sun goes down. So for bringing back the example you just gave about the Black gentleman having to be a light in someone else's life when he's having a hard time, how do you even be able to turn that off to be able to just focus on the fitness? How would you do that? Or just we don't have to use that same example, but then how do you check all of the things that are going on in your life at the door and then turn into a whole nother person as you walk through that door?
Yeah, so that I obviously can't speak from the Black person's perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But from my own personal perspective, yes, I obviously have my own issues and stress and things going on in life. And, you can't carry that into a session with the client. The cool thing, and like the reason I've gotten into fitness and the reason I got into photography, is those are the two main things that I just feel best doing. So when I'm really stressed, when I have a lot going on, I go work out and then I feel better. Or I grab my camera and I go shoot photos of the sunset and then I feel better. So when I do have a lot going on, I'm super stressed and tired and life seems overwhelming. When I'm meeting with my client at a personal training session, or when I'm going to shoot with a subject, whatever it is, for me personally, like that's my mental reset button anyway. So I just have lucked out in that I've been able to find these avenues that are so mentally relaxing for me. So it's easy for me to go into it with a client or subject, turn all that other stuff off and focus on them, because that's what makes me feel better. Like that's literally the two main things that bring me joy in life is fitness and creating photos. So it's not that difficult for me to use those as a way to escape stress, I guess.
So
but again, I'm lucky in that. I want that to be clear. I know that not everybody has those avenues, so I feel super blessed that I do.
Yeah. It's something that you have that you want to just take ownership of and just be able to say this is my escape.
Yes.
Not everyone has a podcast where I can interview a Dillon Vibes, but this is my escape from stress. You have to
Rad.
check out for an hour, maybe hour and a half, and talk about you.
Yeah.
Just talk about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's cool.
For me, when I'm editing, let's say I'm editing this episode for you, I always think, oh, this is gonna be great because redemption, redemption, and B, it's I know Dillon has a big following. I know people would like to hear his story and how he views fitness and photography. While you're editing all of these little, would you call them episodes for your diversity project?
We could call them episodes. I just refer to them as videos, but episodes works technically. Yeah.
So as you're editing the episodes or videos, do you think at all about how the other person will receive it, or just oh, I think this would be great because this could boost up his notice or his image into the public sphere, or are you just I just want to get it edited just to
do you mean for whoever the instructor is that I'm creating the video of?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So let's say let's say you're doing it on me, and then would you, when you're editing the video to get it all finalized, do you think at all about how I'm going to perceive it, or just how it's going to benefit me in the long run as a trainer of color?
Yes. So part of this diversity and fitness project, as well as opening up those conversations, creating that intersection between fitness and race, like I talked about, a lot of what I wanted to do is also just highlight Black instructors. There's not a lot of them in Portland, unfortunately, and they could use all the help they could get. I have a skill set that can hopefully help people. So in one sense, yes, I hope that the creation of these videos and posting them on social media will then in turn help the instructors that I've worked with. On the other end, and there's no way to edit a video with, you know, zero bias, right? Like we're all
Yeah.
subjective.
Yeah.
When you edit something, there is bias. I try to check that bias as much as I can because I want to accurately portray whoever it is that I talk to.
Mhm.
So I, yes, want to paint them in a positive light for them, but if that's not how the interview comes across, I try to realize that, try to portray them as they spoke. So what I do for any video, but especially with videos where we're talking about subjects like racial relations and inequality, is I always send it to the subject first, and I say, hey, here's the video, please watch it. I tried my best to portray you as you. If there's anything in there that you don't like, anything that you think like is wrong that I accidentally messed up, please tell me,
Mhm.
and I can make that switch. So far that hasn't happened. Every time I've sent a video, someone said, hey, this is great, this sounds exactly like me, and we've been good. But for example, like the last video I put up, that same guy Real Black I was telling you, it was a little bit somber, I guess might be the right word. Like it wasn't, a lot of the videos have had kind of like a hopeful, you know, yes, things are bad, but we can get better. And in talking to him, it was just a lot of him saying, hey, there's no light in my life type, you know, negativity. And it was super powerful, amazing words. When I put it all together, I realized that it came across as kind of negative. So I sent it to him and said the exact same things I'm saying now. I was like, hey, I want to see if you're okay with this. Like, I don't want to portray you as a negative person if you don't feel that you're a negative person. And he watched it through and he was like, this is exactly how I feel. You did it perfectly. Post it. So I am aware, try to be aware of the effect that these videos are going to have on the instructors that are featured in them. I hope that they help, and it seems like they do. But I do also just check in with them because I think that I should.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just nice to follow up with people that you've worked with. You know,
Yeah,
like, you know, we've texted, you know, not as often as we should, but you know, at least now we have
sure.
an open line of communication where we have each other's
Yep,
numbers and whatnot. And
yep.
you know, so it's, I thought about doing that also, like sending it off to them. But the majority of the interviews, the only time in the early stages, let's say for example, the only time I'd edit the interview is just to like clean myself up. So
Sure, sure. Okay,
because
okay.
I'm like, okay, I think like it's like a bunch of mumbling, and then the very end, like the last, let's say like 5 seconds, that's like, oh, there's the question. What kind of lead
Right.
up did I have? I have no idea. Let's cut all that out.
Okay,
So
okay.
the
Yeah,
majority of like what they say still stays intact. So
cool.
it's just more of like myself that I need to,
Mhm.
you know, work on. And you know, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's. I feel like, not that I've ever edited the podcast, so correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's a bit different because when I do an interview with somebody, it's about an hour interview,
Hmm.
but then I cut that down into 2 minutes.
Oh
So
wow.
the quotes that I pick and choose, again, my subconscious bias that's
Yeah.
unfortunately there,
Yeah.
could accidentally portray them differently depending how I mix and match those quotes. So they, after the 60-minute interview, my subject does not know what I'm going to pick.
Mm.
Whereas I feel like for a podcast, if we talk for 60 minutes, like I was there talking
Yeah.
the whole 60 minutes. So like I more or less have an idea of how this is going to turn out, but
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And yeah, like you're trimming it up hardcore. I'm just, you know,
Right.
cleaning myself up and then adding an intro and an outro. That's
Right.
it. So
Right. Which for,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's so it all stays intact for the most part, other than, you know, again, me mumbling and bumbling.
Hey, we all do it. Trust me.
So in our last interview, which never made it to air, you mentioned that you worked at a mental health facility and
Yeah.
then you brought in photography. That was one thing that still stuck out to me to this day.
Cool.
Can you talk again about that experience?
Absolutely. So this was 3 years ago at this point. I worked at this place called Northwest Passage in Webster, Wisconsin. It's a little tiny town of 600 people that I lived at for a summer. It was great. Anyway, it was a mental health institute facility, I guess you could say, for teens with all sorts of issues. So anger issues, depression, PTSD, trauma, lots of stuff. And a lot of these kids were kids that had kind of like bounced around the system, you know, maybe adoption, foster parents, or it was either they go to juvie or they come to this place. Some of them were kids with, you know, significant issues that would come from like California, and their parents would ship them all the way to Wisconsin because it was an amazing, amazing program. So it was full time, you know, 24 hours. There's always somebody with the kids. And they did a lot of different programming. So there was school, and there was like physical fitness kind of therapeutic things they would do. A big part of what they did, and the reason I was there, was art therapy. So I was there as a photography intern. I did not have any like real world experience in mental health, but I had a lot of real experience in photography. So we would take these kids on these photography trips. Oftentimes it was underwater photography, which is the coolest thing on the planet. And we take a bunch of photos, which, one, being in nature is therapeutic. Two, creating is therapeutic. And then we would take those photos back to their homes, and I would help them write about it. So they would write, you know, this fish reminds me of me when I'm sad. No one ever wrote that, but whatever. That's kind of what we would do. And it was this really phenomenal experience just to watch how creating and taking photos and being out in nature can be therapeutic for these kids with just all sorts of issues across the board. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my entire life, without a doubt.
Well, now, I believe, oh, you said this was, I want to say in
2017.
2017.
Yes.
So, you know, fast forward 3 years later, we're hitting 2020. What are some things that are stuck with you from that experience?
Yeah. So two main takeaways. I have two main takeaways kind of from that whole experience, one personal and one more external. On the personal side of things, I love shooting photos, right? Like I love creating things. And that summer, I was out shooting photos 4 to 5 days a week, every week. A couple times with the kids. Every Saturday, I'd go on a big long hike. I'd go and shoot the sunset 2 to 3 times a week. So I was shooting all the time. And I look back and realize I was phenomenally happy that entire summer because I was creating and just shooting. And that's like what makes me happy. So that's a big thing that I've learned and continued to nurture now, 3 years later, is that shooting photos makes me happy. It just does. It always will. The external kind of takeaway I got from that program. So what the program was called, the art therapy photography side of it, was In a New Light.
Mm.
The whole idea was that we took these kids underwater, they shot all these photos, and they got to see the world in a new light, which is true. Like most people don't see the world from underwater. Like these kids were seeing like a brand new world in a new light, which is really cool. But the kind of subcontext behind that was that these kids would take these amazing photos and we would print them. There's an actual shop where people could buy the prints from these kids. And the idea through the art therapy and through their creation of photos, whatever else, was for the world to see these troubled kids with all these issues in a new light. Because instead of looking at these kids as, you know, delinquents, the world looked at these kids as artists, as teenagers that, you know, go about and create things and have fun and have relationships. So it's this whole idea that I've talked about a lot, that photography in general and that experience specifically has helped me realize that like you can always look at somebody, quote, in a new light. It's the same like when I'm out shooting. If I'm shooting photos of you and you are standing right in front of the sun, you're going to be backlit and you're going to be like glowing and it's going to look really cool. If we flip positions and I now have the sun on your face, it might be really harsh and then your eyes might be squinting and you might not look as good. So literally just looking at you in a new light, so to speak, could make you appear better or worse. And that's something that I've taken from that experience, taken from photography in general, is that like metaphorically speaking, you can always look at someone a different way and find the beauty in that person or the intellect or the creativity. Like there's people are not just what they seem on paper. There's more to that always. And that is what working at that mental health facility taught me. That's what photography has taught me, and something that I try to teach others just through, I don't know, photography in life, basically.
So let's take that idea of a new light into something not photography, not fitness.
Sure,
When it comes to obviously it's a COVID world, so it's kind of hard to relationships. Those are hard to like find.
sure, sure.
So let's say pre-COVID, because obviously this has been a 3-year span since you had this.
Mhm.
Did you take that kind of mindset of seeing this person in a different light into any kind of relationships you tried setting up, or just any kind of? I used to call them like, oh, this one's a potential. I could potentially get something going with this woman. So, did you ever take that mindset, or what other kind of mindsets that have you learned from photography have you taken to any relationships that you've maybe tried to get going?
Yes. So the whole, yeah, seeing someone in a new light, or giving them the benefit of the doubt is
Yeah,
kind of what it comes down to.
yeah.
Is absolutely how I approach any relationship, romantic, friendships, family, kind of all of it. It's something that I've really tried to do. Because yeah, when yeah, let's say I'm texting some girl I'm interested in, and we're talking for a little while, and then she just completely stops responding.
Yeah,
That sucks. I'm sure you've had that happen to you, right? Like
yeah.
that's, yeah.
Recently, yeah, yeah.
Recently, okay, okay, okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, and like that sucks. It would be easy to look at whoever this is and think, wow, she sucks. She's a terrible person. She's so mean, and I hate her. Or you could reverse it and think she probably has a lot going on in life. There's probably something about me that doesn't mesh well with her. You know what? That's her life. She's doing her thing. She's still a cool person. I'm still okay with that. So it's that, like, being able to turn any like negative emotions I might have about someone and realizing that no, if I just look at them in a different light, in a new light, they're okay. And that's
Yeah.
not true of all people. Some people just suck. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Flat out.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely something that I try to bring into any type of relationship I have with anybody, is seeing things, or trying to see things from their perspective, or trying to see them not just as I physically see them, but as a whole human being who has their own experiences, their own beliefs and values, and things that I don't even know about. You kind of have to put all that into perspective before saying somebody sucks, basically, you know.
It also shows maturity too, because like when you were saying, you're saying, "Oh, this person does not text me. She sucks."
Right.
Blah blah blah. And then now to what your new mindset is, it just shows that crazy amount of growth that someone can go through within, their as they hit adulthood and onwards. I mean, hopefully they, hopefully,
Hopefully. Yeah.
hopefully.
Yep.
I know it's been hard for putting that new light into like any situation, especially with COVID right now, and
Yeah. Yeah.
spinning the new light, with because you were talking about how this diversity project came about, how you didn't really like how it really did come about because of
Yep.
the fortunateness of it.
Mhm.
But you guys always spin that darkness to a little bit of brightness because it motivated you to do something great.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Great.
that, yeah, exactly. Spinning that, darkness into brightness. And I've had a lot of conversations, similar conversations with people where, I've said, I feel guilty that it took this long for me to say something. And a lot of people, especially white people right now, have that same feeling, that whole white guilt of, oh my God, I had no idea that racism existed. I feel terrible. And like, yes, we should have been doing more previously.
Mm.
But I think it's more important to then just look at the situation in a new light and be like, all right, now what can we do?
Yeah.
Like, now we know, now we're aware, now we're ready to take action. It sucks that we didn't do this beforehand.
Yeah.
That's in the past. There's nothing we can do about that. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
And that's, again, in regards to racial inequality. It's in regards to COVID, and in anything.
Everything.
It doesn't make sense, I don't think, to dwell on what could have been or why I didn't do this, because it's gone. Like that's the past. Um, so it makes more sense to spin it, like you were saying, and just get after it, whatever it is.
Yeah. And if you want to spin it back to like fitness, it's like you go to the gym, you do a weight, and they're like, I think I could have done this, let's do it the next time, and then a few days later you forget, and then next thing you know, you just regressed a little bit. And, in
Mhm,
life, it's all about progressing, helping, moving forward,
mhm,
learning. I'm
mhm.
listening. I'm paying attention.
Good, good.
All right. So as I'm trying a new thing as we're wrapping up
Okay,
this interview.
okay,
So I tried this last time with my previous people I interviewed last weekend. I'm going to ask you a couple hypothetical questions.
like 4 sheets of paper there.
I think it's actually like 5 or 6. So
Okay, great, great, great.
it,
Hit me with it.
okay. So first hypothetical question: if Jedi were real, but you
Okay.
had to give up all your possessions and never have a romantic relationship, would you still become a Jedi?
Mm, that sounds like a lot of fun, but I think no.
Why
I
no?
think I could. I think I could get rid of my possessions. I get a lightsaber, right?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
can. I
and
get to
and the
keep a lightsaber
Force and the
and the
Force too.
Force.
Yeah,
Yeah. I could get rid of my possessions. I think not ever having a romantic relationship might be hard.
yeah. Ooh, that's
Can I
rough.
have like a? Do I have like a clan of like Jedi? Like we're all close together at least, or am I alone?
I think it would be that primarily you're alone, but times you
Mm.
get to be with people. So like, let's say like
I'm gonna say
you're
no. I don't want to be alone.
okay. I was gonna
Yeah, I'm
put
gonna say no.
I was gonna twist it to like the Mandalorian, how he's like having moments where he's with people,
Mm.
but primarily
Okay.
he's alone. I guess
Mm.
he's with the young baby Yoda. I'm trying Star Wars. It's
Wait,
Star
wait.
Wars.
Do I get to be with the baby Yoda? Because then the answer is yes.
You get to wear cool armor all the time. I'll do that, man. That sounds
All right,
cool,
all right,
right?
all right, cool. All right.
Okay, so let's look at the next page. What sound do you think you would miss the most if you went deaf?
What sound? I have a
Yeah.
very specific answer for this. Are you ready?
Yes.
Do you know the sound when you open like a new jar of jelly? That like little pop
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
of sound. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That sound. It's the best sound. I don't know why. I like opening up a new jar of jelly is one of my favorite things on the planet.
Is it just because like it's fresh, or you're just like
I
this
don't
is
know.
good?
I just like the sound. I don't have a better explanation, unfortunately, but it is a wonderful, wonderful sound.
It makes sense to you because let's say I'm vacuuming, that crinkling sound. My ex
Mm,
girlfriend, when I was in like let's say like early high school, she
mm.
said that, oh yeah, I really like the crinkling sound. It just tells me that like it works. Slash my carpet's dirty.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Well,
I
yeah,
get that. So then when I started
yeah,
vacuuming, I hear the crinkling. I'm like, okay, all right. I
yeah.
was
It's that like
messy.
satisfying feeling.
Yeah, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is this feels like a clean carpet again. I can lay on it and do
Right.
some whatever stretches or
Right.
just take a nap on
So
it.
that would that be your answer? Is the crinkling of a carpet under a vacuum?
I would, I mean, I would say no, just because there are times where I'm vacuuming and I don't hear it. So I'd probably say, ooh. So I live in the near the Oregon Zoo, so like
Mhm.
Sylvan area. I think the rustling of leaves is kind of like
That's a good
haunting.
sound.
It's
That's a good
haunting,
sound.
but it's also very like relaxing because
Yes,
let's spin it into a horror movie. Let's you hear rustling and you're in the dark, you're terrified. But like
that's
if you're
scary.
safely inside a house and then hear rustling, it's like okay, I think
Yeah,
it's kind of nice. It's
yeah.
kind
I
of nice.
love the fall, so I could agree with that.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
fall is coming up.
Yes. Yes.
So Oregon is officially coming back to playing football in November, I
Oh
believe.
yeah, 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 yeah.
How much do you miss being on the sidelines taking those shots?
So much. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. So as you know, yeah, I got my start in photography, doing sports photography, like live action sports, basketball, football, track, etc. And then I've moved more into commercial portraiture type work. And I've been thinking about it a lot recently, how I want to get back into that sideline shooting, at least like a little bit. Of course, right now is the worst time to try and get back into it because sports aren't really happening. But I miss it. There is nothing like being in the sides
Yeah.
of either Autzen Stadium or Matt Knight Arena down in Eugene shooting basketball. It was like some of my favorite memories as a
Yeah.
photographer. Yeah,
And to go against what you just said, sports are happening. NBA's
you're
wrapping
right.
up.
You're right. You're right.
MLB
You're
and
right.
NFL's right now, which
But not happening at the same extent or
yeah, yeah.
same lucrative level.
I think it's something about like the lack of fans. You're just like it just it's good that sports are happening again, but then the lack of fans kind of just leaves not as fully, exciting as it used
It
to be.
it is a little bit funny in the MLB when somebody hits a home run and the ball like smashes through a cardboard cutout of a dog.
Yeah.
I will admit, for some reason, it brings me joy to watch that happen.
And I believe I heard that the whole cast, the whole family of South Park, so the whole everyone from South Park is at the Bronco game right now.
No, no way.
Yeah, so I was like,
Cool.
because the cardboard
Cool.
cutouts, I was
That's
like,
fun. Yeah,
nice,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. It's people being creative, which has been
Yeah,
kind of an interesting thing in COVID in general, is
yeah,
like seeing how people are pivoting everything, really.
yeah.
Yeah, we can't have fans. Let's add in cardboard. Or is it the NBA? They're doing like you can like zoom in and like be like on a screen type of thing,
Yeah.
which seems so futuristic and
Oh my god. Yeah.
like beyond us, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a little more. Yeah, because I've seen some of the NBA games, like when the Blazers were in it, and then I see people that are, on the screens, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
it's different. And I
It is.
think I think the most prominent like step towards futurism is when the NFL did their virtual draft, and it was nice to see like all those players outside of like the
Yeah.
first round just being at home and then seeing their reactions, because
Yep.
you don't see that once it's like past
Yep.
round two. They're like,
Who
whatever,
cares?
who
Yeah.
cares,
Yeah.
who cares.
Yeah. It is. It's different. Yeah. That's the only way to put it, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah. So Dylan, where can the people, the fans, the viewers, where can they
People,
find you
viewers.
on social media?
Yes. Biggest one, obviously, is Instagram, especially as a photographer. So my main page is just my name, Dillon Vibes, Dillon Vibes. People spell my first name wrong all the time.
Did they put an I between the L and
Yeah.
the O? Yep.
Yes.
Yep. There
Yeah.
it is.
Which actually you did yesterday, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That has not been updated. So let's.
It's fine. It's
Whoops.
fine. He's like, okay, all right. So anyway, just my name, Dillon Vibes on Instagram, or my new personal training Instagram is Vibes Training PDX. So I operate out of Portland. And then same thing, Facebook is Dillon Vibes Photography or Vibes Training. You can go to my website, dillonvibes.com, or my personal training website, which is vibestraining.com. So if you just like Google Vibes in Portland, I'll probably pop up somewhere. That's kind of what I'm hoping to to create in this realm here.
You got your umbrella. Now you're trying to sprout the umbrella. The whole
Exactly.
head honcho is the Dylan
Yes.
Vibes name
Yes.
brand.
Yeah. Yeah. I lucked out with the name Vibes. I don't know if we talked about this last time or not, but my dad's last name used to be Vibert,
Yep.
and everyone just called him Vibes all the time. So we just like had it legally changed. So my name is Vibes, and like as a business owner, like people remember Vibes. Like it actually is very beneficial. So shout out to my dad in 1980 when he changed his name.
So when I was trying to recover your previous interview, I could only catch like the first 2 minutes, and that's the only part I recovered. Was this like because
Oh no way! So we did talk about okay.
it
Cool.
was mentioned, and like because I think it was the first thing you said when we started interviewing,
Sure.
and I was like, oh, at least that got caught. Let's try to get the rest. Psych.
Nope. Yeah, it happens. It happens. But
All
hey, we're
right.
here now.
We're here now. We got round 2 done, and look at that. We upgraded too because you had a whole lot of stuff happening.
I've had a lot. Yeah, a lot of things
Yeah,
happen.
that's great, man. I'm always gonna root for you, and I'll
Thank you.
always save some air time for you, and I'll give you some
Thank
shout
you.
outs. So
Yeah.
why
And I
not?
love that you've upgraded as well. At least your, space and quality. It's cool.
If
I like
if
to
you
see it.
can't from your camera angle, you can't see, but my degree is right there.
Oh, nice. There it is. Nice.
From the second camera, they can see it much better. But yeah, it's
Nice.
when I was getting the setup, I was like, yeah, you can't see that at all. But
Right.
eh,
Just get a close up of just the degree, just so
yeah,
everyone knows you're educated.
yeah. I'm just gonna do the zoom up from here and just.
Nice. Nice.
All right, Dylan. I'll let you go finish the rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much for re-stopping by and
Yeah, of
re-chatting
course.
with me and doing round 2 and getting that in the books officially.
All right. It was fun. Thank you again.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the interview. Do you have any questions for the guest? Put them in the comments below, then I'll get them answered for you. So if you like what you heard and you want to hear more from Keoni Chats, the show can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, and now Amazon Music. But if you want a video version, you can search Keoni Chats on YouTube, subscribe, and hit the bell button to get notified when a new episode is released. To stay connected with KC Media and Keoni Chats, you can follow KC Media 13 on both Instagram and Twitter. And then on Facebook, search Conlu K Media, and that will take you to KC Media's Facebook page. So if you'd like to be a guest, go ahead and direct message me on any of those social media platforms, or you can email me on kcmedia13@yahoo.com. So until the next episode, everyone, please take care.